Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, and welcome back to our Ahlul Bayt Live special. We will be looking at the attributes of Our Lady Fatima Zahra, peace and blessing being upon her. If you've just joined us, earlier on in the show we talked about the roles of a daughter and the responsibilities we hold as a daughter, and maybe some of the lack of guidance we have in fulfilling this role. We are now back with our guest who will be talking about, now the transition, actually we spoke about daughter to mother, and then I was talking about mother to wife. So I think it's a beautiful transition, and I think the sisters were describing how this is a natural growth, maybe an evolution of your role.
Absolutely, because Bibi Fatima Zahra Islam, I think sometimes people forget, she was the daughter of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the wife of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the mother of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. So, being the significant person that she was in the holy household, we can only learn from the attributes, the greatest attributes as a female in history that she held. And that puts me to my next question, Sister Asma. Imam Ali alayhi salam said that the most happy is he to whom God has given a good wife. What are your thoughts on that, and what are the attributes of a good wife?
That reminds me and takes me towards another hadith which when Prophet asked Imam Ali, and he said, how did you find Sayyidah Salaamullah alaiha with you?
We actually have a caller. I'm sorry to interrupt, sister. I think it's great that we have another caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you for calling.
Mashallah, it's great that you're doing a segment on Lady Fatima Zahra alayhi salam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where are you calling from, sister?
She was the most perfect woman who walked this earth, and I think we can only truly understand what it means to be a daughter, a wife, and a mother through Lady Fatima Zahra. So,
where are you calling from, sister? Sorry? Sister, can you hear me?
I have a question.
Sure, go on.
Yes, go on.
After marrying, what can a girl do for her mother? Because generally, a woman compromises her family, for example, by moving to a different city or country for the sake of her husband. Do you no longer have responsibilities towards your mother, since moving away once married is the norm in our society?
That's such a good question. That's an excellent question, sister.
Thank you for calling, sister.
Thank you so much.
We'll get to an answer.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I know this is a separate topic on its own. We're going to have in future shows, but I'll let next
what I'd like to say is on that, I think when a mother is truly, truly happy when her daughter gets married, she appreciates the fact that she has to move on to her own household. She will understand when she has to move into a different city, so her expectations are not going to be there, and usually mothers' expectations are not there. Usually it's the other way around, where daughters are expecting things from the mothers. But if you can't visit her often enough, you obviously have to bear in mind your communication with your husband has to be well enough for him to understand that you are a good daughter, you have been a good daughter, you want to maintain being a good daughter, and in order to do that you need to facilitate the communication between your mother as well. From my perspective, if you can't visit her, which would be
there's some other ways as well.
Definitely you need to be on the other end of the phone and know if she's well, what's going on with her life. I mean, what would you say to that, Sister Asma?
It's like as I mentioned earlier, the close relationship you have with your parents, like, the way you feel for them. And it's making a phone call, and if possible, yes, visit. If not, that, have this communication going. So they don't feel any time that, you haven't thought about them. Now, I know maybe this is not relevant with us to do with Islamic, Islamic way, but birthdays and small occasions, you remember them, they never forget your birthdays, and they always wish you with du'as and everything. Then maybe on their birthdays you remember them, and you make sure that you do call and if they're around, you can visit them, like, for those special times.
Sure.
So this is, I think, because mothers, they don't expect so much. These little things, they do make a difference, and I'm sure that, if you carry on whatever is possible, a mother will never ever expect more than what she knows that you can do. So when you do a little, it will be a really big.
I have a question on that. I think being in a similar situation right now, but in the early stages, I find it's harder because you've moved on, you have a new world, new life. You've left behind this empty position in your house, and I think it's really important to be sensitive of that because your mother has raised you and kind of fed you breakfast and done things for you, knows your routines. All of a sudden, you're not there. So you've given back all this time almost immediately. So how does one, prepare themselves, and maybe your mother needs to you have to have those communication, like Sister Narjis said, in the early days to kind of wean yourself off slowly, not cut it off immediately. So what would be your feedback? I hope the sister.
Maybe before marriage you have to have these conversations. I think you need to have this communication, so it's not a straight cut off. Like you, as a mother and daughter, you would have this conversation that this is how it's going to be, and you're going to go, and you might not have that much time, so it's already established that, so it's not there. It's not something that you're not there. Okay, now she's not there, she doesn't call me, she doesn't think about me, so it's something that you've established before you leave that house. And then I think it's understood that it will take time, but she hasn't forgotten, because they would allow you that time to settle.
Add something to it.
Yes, please.
To me as well.
Please,
because I moved from my back home and came here and got married, to my husband. So what happened? I left my mother, my brothers there. So what happened? It's all been prepared. That's what you mentioned. Beginning, she convinced me to stay because he's really good, husband. And then he, all of a sudden, she said, just step by step, talking to her every time over the phone, and then slowly, it's not like less and less, but she tried to rahmatullah alayha, to prepare me as if she's not there. And then she began at the end, before she died, and she said, just as if I'm not there. So they know about it. It's too hard, but
they know they've been in that position themselves.
How did you prepare then? That's interesting. How do you prepare?
I think one thing you do need to bear in mind is, I think everybody needs to understand, is your mothers know that you are actually filling a gap where you're going as well. And really, in order to be a good daughter for potentially the new household, you have to treat your mother-in-law as your mother as well. So you've got, mothers know that you've got a new mother to look after, because you are only going to be treated as a good daughter if you treat the mother-in-law as your mother. So that's another concept you need to
bear in mind. The good wife, that is the most important as well.
So what about the good wife? I mean, how does one draw the line? I know some parents, bless them, within our community, some mothers are, mashallah, very dominant, or they are very vocal in what they want. So again, to just pose another question, where do you, as a wife and a mother, draw the line and say, well, this is too much now, where's my husband's time? I need to be a good wife. Or do you say, I need to be a good daughter or a mother? So what happens then?
I think it's a balance, and you're always learning. It's a process that sometimes it depends. You prioritize where the need is the most, where you're most needed. My father is ill, and when he gets really bad, then I feel that I have to go, and I want to go and visit him many times I can. But then sometimes I just think that, every holiday, if I'm going to go, what about my husband's time? Why do I think that, they need me more than he needs me? So this is where you find the balance. And then your children. So as a mother, I think you learn. You just learn as it comes, and then you just prioritize things that, at this point, what is my priority? If I'm a mother and my kids are having exams, is it more important for me to stay with them or go and see my father or my mother? So I think you learn as you grow, and you do things. And earlier on, what you were saying about the journey, moving into new house, filling in that space. Just wanted to say something about my father-in-law, that, when he went back home, and he said to my dad, I remember, and I never forget this, and he said, like, you've given us a daughter, because my father-in-law and mother-in-law they have 5 sons and no daughter. And then he went back and he said that you've given us a daughter who, like, who treats us like a daughter. And for my mom, like, that gap which she was thinking, oh, she's gone far, she doesn't think about us, because we never had that conversation of preparing ourselves, okay, we're going to go to different places, because now I've learned from that if I'm preparing my daughter for it, because I've experienced. But at the same time, when you have the comments and the other household where you've gone and they praise you, then where does that come from? This is upbringing of your parents. Absolutely. Because they've given you those values. Sure. So you come, and when they go and say something nice about you, I think they feel a satisfaction of that. You've done something, you've shown their teachings, what the values they've given to you. Yes. And I think it's a two-way circle.
The role of the mother seems to come up more and more.
Yeah.
How would you prepare your daughters for this journey? What do you do?
What I do is just as a mother, because they are really, when young, whatever they will see, your character, how you behave, how you feel, even the way, even your features, impressions, everything that she will see that. And she used to be like, if she's hyper and then I'm panicking, she becomes like that. If I calm down, which is, every mother need to be really very cool and calm down to be honest. And this is how we brought up, our children. Otherwise, really, if you panicking, they start panicking, then we will have another generations that totally
they marry you.
Absolutely, because we're role models to our children, and they copy things. They pick the best attributes and even the weaknesses.
Right.
Very easy.
That's a really good point. So
Yeah.
how would you set them off? I mean, you have a daughter who's kind of starting to question things and
first thing, which is never to say that I'm busy.
Yes.
Always be there when she needs it, when she needs me, and give her at least the nearest to her questions, some good answer, good, a role model, which is I have to bring, my daughter as in the Islamic way, that is for sure, inshallah, and this is how I started with her. She used to see me praying, she does the same thing exactly when she was young, and the same thing, which is I need to be careful what I'm going to say. I need to take her to the masjids. When she see more, girls like her age, she will be, trying to imitate them. Even when she was young, she started loving them. When she was 8 years old, she hasn't got, she doesn't need, to put the scarf on. But because of the Arabic school, we take her to Saturdays. She started at year 7, and she doesn't want to take it, mashallah. But even until I said, okay, you finished the, the school, mom. Even at, in the car when she get in, she doesn't take it off until that we go home. But still until that she semi below the year 9, and she starts immediately convinced she need to wear the hijab. Alhamdulillah. It was like prepared, for doing that.
And she will also, sorry to interrupt, she will also watch your behavior with your mother and imitate that.
Everyone start thinking that I forced her to, wear hijab and then behave in that way. And, she was like feeling crying one day. She was really young, 9 years old, and someone just passed, in our house, a builder. And I said, okay, just put a scarf or a towel on your head. She started crying. She wanted to put the scarf properly.
I think, again, your examples, and I think what Sister Narjis is describing of the perfect relationship, the ideal situation. But unfortunately, there are situations that are not as amicable as such. And why do you think, we hear stories in the press or unhappy daughters, unhappy mothers? I mean, where does it stem from? I mean,
if they are busy, I'm sure definitely they're busy with the house as a housewife or preparing things, busy with the husband getting after him trying to set everything. We need to, as Sister Smart said, that we need to balance everything. When she see that balance and we do care about her, definitely there will be, some effects on that, and she will feel that she's really important. When she feels that she's really important, one of the important people in the house, definitely she will respect that. She will respect what you're going to say. That definitely, if the mother will be really busy and the way the attitude with the father, she's get confused. I don't know what to say, that her life start being like, not the same, because when she goes to school, she finds a different environment. Going back home, if it's going to be the same thing, she will be not appreciating that. But if she will meet, a good mother, that is the good mother, the role model, like, Bibi Fatima alayha salam, she's the Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen. So we need to tell her that is our role model. She is the Bibi Fatima, because she's Alwiya, that she's a descendant from Prophet Muhammad, my daughter. So that is what she's, definitely brings this up, when I educate her, raise her up, always try to remind her this is where she's coming from. And it's really important as well to have a friend her age. It's very, very important, because one of the stages, which is now, I'm suffering that, to have the same stage, having my daughter in her teenagers. You can't guarantee all the teenagers, even from the same society or the different, they're not Muslims. I want her to meet all the friends, which is Muslims, but at the same time, if they are really good, they're not interfering her with her own life and faith. That's how I wouldn't mind, to go. I don't want her, to be in this really big world and isolated, and then it will be. She's not going to be a good, when she get married. She's now a daughter. She get married, she will be in different environment again.
She has to deal with
I need
wife and being
build her up, to have that confidence in herself. And then when she got married and having children, she's going to be brought this up.
That brings me to my next question, Sister Ahlam. It is often said that in order to be good parents, you should be less of a mother and more of a friend. But some people disagree and say, no, you need to have that balance, and you need to be less of a friend and more of a mother, and they're speaking more from the strict side of things. What are your views on that?
My view, which is nothing like, have to be extremists in both ways. We have to balance that again. Being a good mother, that's fine. Your role as a mother, need to teach her, educate her the way that we are brought up as well. The same as my parents, my mother, which is she's give me that much confidence in myself. When I do everything now, to be honest, I've been here in this country like on my own. I had no my parents in here. So educated as in remembering what that being educated before that, and then I brought up to my family. And again, being to be her friends, this is really a good things. We need to be all mothers friends to our children, especially daughters. They will be really number one to talk to you later when she got a problem. That's why sisters is really important. Listen to your daughters. I know that's in one stage we need to, we get angry, upset, but we need to listen to them, and that is the main thing. And they build up, they're confident in themselves. When they talk to their mothers, they feel relief after that. So it is the balance of everything.
Excellent. If you could go back with hindsight now and change any aspect of you being a mother, what would you change and why?
Changing that, I wouldn't change anything, because I really loved my kids. I raised them up as as a working mother. I stayed 4 years as the beginning of their ages, sitting with them, totally sitting with them, not working. Then I start work, bit by bit, half days. But changing that, I should have listened more to them. having more time, talking to them more and more. More you talk to children, more they will listen. They will thinking, they wouldn't listen to you, no, they will think. They will listen to you. Because I remember my mother, she used to talk to me. I don't listen to her that much sometimes, we do in one stage. But the same thing is now. We need to talk to our children, then they will listen, and they will.
I think something that I noticed within our community, and what I've observed is that sometimes mothers expect this relationship that you're describing, which is obviously built with a lot of effort and a lot of time overnight. So maybe they deprive their daughters of the attention, like you said, the love, or maybe they do love them. I'm not saying they would deprive them of that, but then all of a sudden they demand certain
they wouldn't accept it.
So again, that's hard. I mean, the child gets confused when you've been an absent parent, but then all of a sudden you expect these things. So I know you're saying that you didn't work because you didn't have to, but sometimes in life we don't have that choice. We need to go out and work. So I know that you were saying, sister, that you've had to work and raise your children. So how did you balance from being on the polar opposite side with having your children and then doing what you do?
I was in similar situation. Yes, I do work now, but it is first when I had my 3 children, I didn't until they started going to school, because myself and my husband said to me that, I will do double job if I have to, but I would like you to stay with the children because what you can give them, nobody else can.
Nobody.
So he said that I would want you to stay, and I was in I wanted to study and work and this, and then he said to me, there will be time, inshallah, and you can do whatever you want, but at this point just you've got to give 100% to them. And I think that was the best choice we made. And when the children started going full-time school, that's when I started. And mashallah, it's worked out so well. And now I think that, what if I had missed that time? Because I remember those moments with the children. I still miss out, I do still miss out on things when, as a teacher, it's a big responsibility. You still, you have to give a lot of your time. But now, instead of climbing the ladder, saying, okay, I want to do this, but no, I will wait until I've done not enough, but I've spent time with my children, because I know in few years' time it's not going to be the same. They will have their own lives, and maybe I will have time then to move forward, do things what I want to do.
I think that's definitely great insight, and I hope the viewers take note of those words of wisdom. I know it's nearly the end of the show. I can't believe it. It's been great. First of all, it's been great being back live after so long, and having yourselves and Zahra on the show. And I think it's kick-started a series of, inshallah, live shows that we aim to myself.
Every week, inshallah, we're going to be back with 2 new guests. With a fresh new topic and getting 2 different perspectives from different spectrums. So it will be exciting. So do tune back with us, and it'll be a live show every single week.
I think that would really work. And also, I find, again, and I know going through the questions and understanding the background behind yourselves and seeing it together, the discussions, I think it's really kind of, it's an eye-opener, and again, inshallah, for the viewers as well. So if you have any questions on future topics, they can get in touch with us through our Facebook page or call in live alternatively. But again, I don't think you realise the wealth of knowledge you have until you kind of speak about it. And again, seeing that transition again, and I think I commend yourselves and everyone else who's watching who's in similar situations. I think I've learned a great deal from the show.
I have as well. I think we take it for granted. We think, as the nature of the humans are, that we know what we're doing it best, but it's only, I think it's important to share experiences, to pick the best bits out, because it's all, human beings are evolving.
This is how I learn.
You've got to pick out the best bits. Yes.
Absolutely, sisters.
You've got to pick out the positive bits and take things on board.
That will be exactly it. Will show on our children when we have confidence in ourselves. There will be in there.
And I'm sure listening to Zahra with her the journey she's embarking upon, having a child and just going through that transition, I'm sure. What are your thoughts on that? Watching someone else quickly, if you could just sum that up.
Does
it remind you of your time?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It just, it was amazing for me for the first, as a boy I had, and that was shared with my husband. It's just like it was a miracle. I had my baby a premature. So that's why it was a miracle to have him. And then my daughter, it was a blessing having a daughter as well. Two of a kind, and that's it. It's just I want to mention that a priority is our family and the children. Definitely, that's if it's a good husband, then we will have a good family, and then the children as well. And we both have to share that being a good family or a children to brings them up. We have to have a really good family, good bond together, and we're helping each other. And this is it. This is just how we.
That's great words. Again, thank you for coming on the show. I know I've
Thank you for having us.
It's been a great following the journey from a daughter to a wife and of course a mother. We'll be back next week.
We will indeed, yes. With brand new 2 guests, and inshallah do tune in. Hopefully the sisters, including Zahra, has brought some insight into everyone's lives, and hopefully inshallah we pick up the positive experiences and improve our life, and always go back to understanding why we are here today. Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam's birth, which was 2 days ago. Inshallah, let's read more about the Lady of Light and learn and take in more experiences from her.
Thank you so much, and hopefully we will have more input from the viewers, and do get involved with our Facebook page. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
For her mother, because generally a woman compromises her family, for example, by moving to a different city or country for the sake of her husband. Do you no longer have responsibilities towards your mother, since moving away once married is the norm in our society?
That's such a good question. That's an excellent question, sister.
Thank you for calling, sister.
Thank you so much.
We'll get to an answer.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I know this is a separate topic on its own.
Yes.
We're going to have it in future shows, but I'll let the expert
what I'd like to say is on that, I think, and that puts me to my next question, Sister Asma, is Imam Ali alayhi salam said that the most happy is he to whom God has given a good wife. What are your thoughts on that, and what are the attributes of a good wife?
That reminds me and takes me towards another hadith which when Prophet asked Imam Ali, and he said, how did you find Sayyidah Salamun Alaiha?
We do actually have a caller. I'm sorry to interrupt, Sister. It's great that we have another caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you for calling.
Mashallah, it's great that you're doing this segment on Lady Fatima Zahra alayhi salam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where are you calling from, sister?
She was the most perfect woman who walked this earth, and I think we can only truly understand what it means to be a daughter, wife, and a mother through Lady Fatima Zahra. So,
where are you calling from, sister? Sorry? Sister, can you hear me?
I have a question.
Sure, go on.
Yes, go on.
After marrying, what can a girl do?
Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, and welcome back to our Ahlul Bayt Live special. We will be looking at the attributes of Our Lady Fatima Zahra, peace and blessing being upon her. If you've just joined us, earlier on in the show we talked about the roles of a daughter and the responsibilities we hold as a daughter, and maybe some of the lack of guidance we have in fulfilling this role. We are now back with our guest who will be talking about, now we transition, actually we spoke about daughter to mother, and then I would talk about mother to wife. So I think it's a beautiful transition, and I think the sisters were describing how this is a natural growth, maybe an evolution of your role.
Absolutely, because Bibi Fatima Zahra Islam, I think sometimes people forget, she was the daughter of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the wife of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the mother of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. So being the significant person that she was in the holy household, we can only learn from the attributes, the greatest attributes as a female
Yes.
in history that she held.